Yes, we are live now. So I want to welcome us all to a special edition of the regular programs on the Abubakah project, the NMSMEs Business Scaling Conference 2023. Welcome all our guests, all our guest speakers, all our VIPs, the executives of BMOs from NACCIMA, NASSI, NASSME, and the women wing of the NACCIMA, and all our NMSMEs across the country joining us both on the Connect platform and the YouTube. You're welcome. We have, of course, great time to spend together because of the topic we have before us and the concept we want to cover. Like you all know that the Abubakah project, the focus is to build a poverty-free continent by leveraging on the power of technology. And we take entrepreneurship very key, and of course the NMSMEs in Nigeria and in Africa are very important to us. So today we're looking at, in the theme of the NMSMEs Business Scaling Conference 2023, we're looking at the new national policy on MSMEs and the ease of doing regular and export businesses in and from Nigeria. We have to take up this topic and such a time like this because the country is about to witness another change of government. And what has been the regular thing, the common thing with our nation is that anytime we have a change of government, there is always a kind of issue with sustainability and continuity. It's always like like having abandoned projects every now and then after resources, fund, effort have been put to, ideas have been put together. Of course, we all remember that even from the previous 2-3 governments, there have been several policies, several plans, ideas, and consideration that are being dropped, either being dropped completely or come up with a different concept again when you have another government. And this is not going to help a nation. There has to be a master plan for any nation that will succeed. And then coming to talk about the NMSMEs, we all know it is no more something strange when we say that NMSMEs is key in the development of any nation, especially the African nations. We know so much that we cannot be joking with the future of NMSM if we want to do well as a country. So for us to afford, if for some of us that follow the drafting, the bringing together of the policy, the NMSMEs policy, and what the Nigeria Export Promotion Commission has been doing, we will know that it's not the right thing to do, it's not the right thing to do to abandon the efforts by the new government coming in. And so how do we be sure that we make this happen, that the policies, the efforts are not abandoned? What to do is that the stakeholders as regard to NMSME project, the BMOs, the NMSMEs on their own, should keep talking and keep pushing, should not be silent when the new government will come up and draft however they want to run the country. The NMSMEs must be in the agenda of the new government, and not just being in the agenda of the new government, must be able to see ASAP anytime they need information. They must be able to say, SMEDAN, what do you have there? They must be able to tell the BMOs, how do you understand it? So we decided, we look at it that it's good that we have this program in a time like this. And the truth is that from the implementation, because 2023, it's really going to be the onset of so many implementation of policies and acts. So it's good. We know so far how the BMOs are feeling, how the MSMEs are feeling concerning the policy. Do they even know the policy and what the understanding, and what are the neglecting area in the policy, and what to make happen for us to have successful implementation. So this program is all about successful implementation, successful business in Nigeria. And we know as well that many people will going into export business, or they have been here to say and so many things about the trading or talking about people. Really, there are so many states that don't know even the commodities for their states. As someone who has gone around by the virtue of presiding on the Abubakah project, I travel to states and I see that one of the challenges we are having currently in this country that I really want us to really solve is the idea of the policy or the act or the rule at the federal and Lagos level compared to the grassroots, compared to other states. What I've discovered is that the federal and Lagos state have the understanding of any policy or any act, any law that comes out, but at the state level, the sensitization, even the knowledge before the sensitization, the knowledge is not deep, that at the state level, so many people at the state level cannot explain. For example, I was in a meeting where they were discussing the Nigerian the Nigerian Startup Act. I discovered that the understanding at the federal level about the Startup Act is different from what the states understand about it. And then same way, when you get to where the NMSMEs policy is being discussed or exportation, you discover that there is a gap in between the federal capital and federal capital Lagos state together and other states, except sometimes Kano picking up and Port Harcourt and things like that. So we need to have a focus of not just letting it limiting the concept to just the federal level. This at the state level, people should have the understanding to adopt any policy and to run with policies. So people at many, even despite the state, is the effort at the state that we have. For example, if you talk about digital economy, the state government in their ministry don't have digital economy, and at the federal we have communication and digital economy. So what it means that the state has to do something. And same thing, thank God we have SMEDAN in almost all our states today, which wasn't like that before. So we really give credit to the executives. SMEDAN, as one who is in and close, I really see that SMEDAN is doing well, and so with the NEPC, but perhaps there are other areas we need to cover. So today, we are having with us the representative of the DG, SMEDAN, DG of Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, Mr. Olawale Fasanya, who actually tried to make it, but because of other engagement and even it's been so engaged. So we have with us a very lovely director, NASSI Lawani, is the Chief Strategy Officer to DG, and of course, in fact, is the strategic person, is the one to really be here to talk about this. So Mr. NASSI Lawani will be who happens to be the Chief Strategy Officer to DG, will be talking to us about the NMSMEs policy, what will the people need to know, and then we will be having from the representative of Nigeria Export Promotion Commission talking to us about the ease of doing business outside, in and outside the country, like commodities and the other things. And we have in the house among BMOs, we have the ASBON, the Association for Small Business Owners of Nigeria. We have the President, Mr. Femi Egbesola, who will be talking to us on the angle of Small Business Association in Nigeria. We have the Nigerian Association of Small Scale Industry representative. We have Dr. Henry, who will be talking to us from that angle. Then we have the women representative of the NACCIMA No, the NACCIMA Women's Group, Business Women's Group. So we'll be having Mrs. Patricia Dakwa speaking from that area, from that angle. And we have, I think we have Biola Olushola in the house. You're welcome, Biola Olushola. Thank you. So like I said, we are really going to have a wonderful time together. So right now, we will want to welcome Mr. Onesi Lawani with a slide, taking the floor. Then after him, I'll be introducing the NEPC director, speaker that will be taking us. I think I have Provale. Then we will have the response. And you can see the way we have arranged this program. In most times when people attend programs, we have the presentation and then you have this discussant. It is not about discussing. We have to select people that on behalf of BMOs, okay, the representative of NAWORG chairperson is having difficulty signing to the meeting. Oh, please, our engineer, please help us attend to that. I don't know what there should be. Maybe she should check our network. You can change our network. By the way, I didn't talk about Connect is an indigenous web conferencing platform. Okay, our engineer is on it now. Okay, so it's one of the things you enjoy when you use Connect. You have home support. You have home support, and it's a web conference. When you say buy Nigeria, promote Nigeria, use Nigeria, be part of innovation. This Connect is one of the startup in Nigeria. It's one of the innovation. So I want us to in our organizations to try it out, see it's good, and you can. Of course, this is not paying dollars; you are paying naira when you are using Connect. So let's welcome our first speaker, our wonderful director, Oseni Lawani. Over to you, sir.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Onesi Lawani. I actually work with the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, and I work closely with the Director General. Unfortunately, he could not join this meeting. He would have loved to be here, but for some issues that borders on his engagement and somehow his health, he said I should stand in for him. All the same, I just believe that we should be able to be better briefed on the content and the purpose of the new national or the revised national policy on MSMEs. I want to ask my support to help me roll the slides, please. Yes. Yeah, like we all know.
I'm not in it. Can you see it, sir?
Yes, I can see it. Yeah, I can see it. Essentially, the essence of this meeting is for, like the Ola Saints talked about, people are not aware about any policy that borders on the national, the micro, small, and medium enterprises, not to even talk about the revised or new version. So the essence of this meeting is to use this platform to create awareness about the national policy and to also allow ownership of the national policy, even at the implementation level, both at the national and subnational levels. We actually went around during the revision process. We went to all the geopolitical zones, but I know that not everybody will be represented, but we did as much as going around to all the six geopolitical, zones. It is also to create a platform for stakeholders where we can regularly interface towards maybe making input on how the national policy recommendations can be implemented. Then definitely at the end of today, I am so sure that I will get some feedbacks on whatever I'm going to say today concerning or that borders on the national policy. And that will also help us in shaping or looking at what we intend to do or what the policy intends to do. Now, before the first policy in 2007, there was no policy framework that was essentially designed or put in place to help in the development of the micro, small, and medium enterprises subsector. So, in essence, the first policy, next slide, please. The first policy actually came up in 2007. Next, please. Came up in 2007, and the first revision was done in 2015. And the second revision, we started the process in 2019, but we did not conclude it until 2020. And it was signed March 17 by Mr. President during the FEC meeting in 2021. So effectively, the revised national policy is effective from 2021 up to 2025. It's a 4-year term. Next slide, please. Then what are the objectives of this, the fundamental objectives of this policy? Essentially, like we know, the micro, small, and medium enterprises are responsible for over 46% GDP. It is 70% employment. So it is a very critical sector. So what is the policy supposed to do is to see how the policy can sustain this vibrant MSME subsector. And one other objective is to see how we can ensure that there is an emergence of new micro, small, and medium enterprises in Nigeria with a special focus on women and youth for obvious reasons. Then the policy is also intended to see how they can help in ensuring the profitable expansion of MSMEs that are already in existence, looking at all the value chains across the sector. Then lastly, it is also to help address the peculiarities of the MSME subsector and to see how we can implement the policy recommendations using the public-private platforms that is available. Now, like I said, most Nigerian MSMEs, even the enablers, are not aware of the policy. So there are some new introductions in the policy that we need to tell ourselves or to educate ourselves on. One of such new changes is borders on two major areas. One, we've replaced the definition of MSMEs looking at asset. We've changed to turnover. Use turnover as a yardstick for measuring. Then we have also split the micro enterprise into two subgroups. That is why you can hear St. Ola always talking about NMSMEs. N there means nano. Before now, we used to talk about micro, small, and medium enterprises. But this policy, because of the peculiarity of the huge number of the nano enterprises, they had to make special case for them. So we now have a new classification that we refer to as nano, micro, small, and medium enterprises in Nigeria. Now, what are some of the changes in the new policy? Like I said, the classification and definition. Like I said, we've replaced asset base with turnover. And why did we think this was necessary? One of the factors is when you look at Nigeria, the inflation rate is on this continuous rise. So when you're looking at the asset levels that was set in 2007 and you want to compare it to the asset level of this year, you see that there is no basis for that. The depreciation, the inflation has eroded everything that you can think about. Then as a result of this, you see that it is very difficult to compare new investment and old ones because the case is different when you are using turnover to compare. on like when you are looking at asset. Then another issue is when you are trying to certify the asset value, it is much more complex than when you are using turnover values. So these are some of the reasons. There's so many reasons. Then, especially again, one of the reasons is the former definition was sort of excluded. Excluded the use of land or land, say excluding land and buildings. And we just believe that if you exclude land and buildings for a farmer, somebody that is into farming, okay, what other asset does the person have? So we believe that it is not necessary, you cannot exclude land and building when you're talking about, when you want to help in assessing the value of an enterprise. Then you can also see that these fintech companies had also came and distorted that former definition. You now have fintech companies, maybe just 2-3 people, and they are churning out billions. So it distorted the whole definition that the traditional relationship that we used to have between asset base and business turnover. You can just have some 3 laptops and they are churning out billions. Unlike some people that will have equipment in their workspace, in their workshop, maybe running into millions or even billions, and they are not making as much money as these fintech companies. Then also our experiences from other clients shows that everybody is shifting from using asset to define MSMEs and now focusing on turnovers. Then, if you look at the company income tax waiver in 2020 Act, you see that tactically they too shifted from talking about asset into their focus was also on turnover. Now, I talked about the split of the micro enterprises into 2. What were the justification? One, you see that most of these micro enterprises, or the people we refer to as micro enterprises, are actually enterprises owned by one person or managed by one person and not maybe two people working on it. It's a family thing. Then if you look at in 2013, 83.2% of the micro enterprises just had initial setup capital of 100,000. Then the split also will help in separating those micro enterprises that are formal in nature and those that are informal, and the number is huge. So we cannot just do away with those tiny enterprises that are largely informal. Then the market money and the trader money also somehow tried to see or to help in defining or separating the micro enterprises from the nano enterprises. So we just did something in line with that and felt that there was the need to have a clearly defined micro enterprises and nano enterprises, so that targeting, policy targeting and intervention targeting would be more focused. Now, maybe for a better understanding, the new classification now is now nano, micro, small, and medium. Any enterprise that has just 1 to 2 people running it and or owning it is regarded as nano enterprise. And again, if you have a turnover of less than 3 million, you are regarded as a nano enterprise. You are regarded as a micro enterprise if you have up to 3 to 9 people, less than 10 people with you, and you make less than 25 million as turnover. Then you are regarded as small if you have between 11 to less than 50, like 49 people working with you, and you make less than 100 million as turnover. You have less than 100 million as turnover. Then you are regarded as medium if you have up to 199 people working with you plus you, and you make just less than 1 billion as turnover. Now, the policy in trying to address the challenges or provide a framework for the development of the micro, small, and medium enterprises identify 9 key priority areas. And this essentially borders on awareness creation on the MSME policy, which this platform is helping the agency to do. We talked about the finance, which is a major issue when you talk about MSME development, skills development, technology research and development, extension and support services. Is also borders on marketing. Then there is this issue of infrastructure and cost of doing business. Then there are some other areas that we believe that should be a major focus of any development plan. And we call them priority sector or target enterprises. And this include agriculture, solid minerals, construction, manufacturing, creative industry, a whole lot of that. So the current national policy has in total about 154 recommendations or initiatives. And there is barely anything that you can think of that is not that's not contained in these recommendations. If we can jointly or as a nation run, even if it is 30% or 40% of the recommendations of the national policy, the current national policy, I can bet that Nigeria will be one of the nations, one of the developed nations in the world, and will take advantage of whatever initiatives such as the AFTA and AGOA initiatives. Like I said, finance is a big issue. And under finance alone, we have 29, there are 29 recommendations. And part of the recommendations is for the need to create a funding or MSME funding portal that will showcase all the funding opportunities in Nigeria, so that at the press of a button, an entrepreneur, whether nano, micro, or medium entrepreneur, can have access to all the information that he or she needs to know on the funding opportunities. We get to hear all the time that it is not as if there's no money for the MSMEs, but the problem has always been that the MSMEs don't have information on what the fund is meant for or how to access such funds. So the portal gives that opportunity, or that is that platform that an MSME can know what is available in Bank A, Bank B, Bank C. Then there's also the need to create a micro development, MSME development fund, which will be private and public sector driven. It is one of the recommendations. And the agency is working assiduously on this to see how we can facilitate that.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Okay. I think your call probably came in since he's joining in with his mobile. Okay, so sorry about that. He dropped off. I think it's a network. I also want to confirm if you can all hear me. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello, can you all hear me clearly?
Yes, can I hear you?
Okay. I wanted to confirm that Mr. Alessi dropped off. He joined in with
Yeah,
his mobile device.
The network.
So, yes, I said Mr. Alessi dropped off. You know, if you join in with your mobile device and the call comes in, you will drop off the call.
Okay.
So
That's
yes.
probably what.
So, and that's one of the advantages of Connect. Yes, and that's one of the advantages of Connect, because now these slides were uploaded already on the Connect platform. So all he needs to do is just, once he comes back to the call, he doesn't have to share his screen again. He just will pick up the conversation from where he stopped, because the slides are already uploaded on this platform. So that's one of the advantages of Connect. And if he probably had a team member or a teammate who was on the call, the person will just continue with the presentation on his behalf, and then there will be no bridge. So these are some of the advantages we have with this Nigerian build platform.
Okay, so while we wait for him, let's know what happened. I'm sure it's we're trying. Just try to communicate with me.
I noticed that it's on the mobile, so.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, so that's like what I said, the mobile and the call comes in. Yes, most likely.
Okay, so all right. While we were, thank God you refill yourself, Mr. Femi. So in the house with us is Mr. Femi Williams. Is the startup, and he has the startup, the Connect. That's the CEO, New Waves Technology. The New Waves is the father and the mother of Connect.com. Let's hear something from you before we have Mr. Onesi Hop. And then I have the information, the speaker representing, I think, okay, sent to me now, can see. From Nigeria Export Promotion Commission, we have Mr. Faleke Babatunde Olusegun with us. Is the Director of Export Development and Incentives, Nigeria Export Promotion Commission. Mr. Faleke Babatunde Olusegun, you're welcome, sir. Okay, I can see him on the call. But you're welcome, sir. Thanks so much. So, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Femi,
good morning, everyone. We're happy to have you have this very important event on our platform. We started it in year 2020, and this is version 2.3. Okay, we're about to launch another version that is that has a lot more features, which I'll talk about in a moment. The platform has also been launched in the Indian market, so we have we have Indians using the platform. So Connect.in is also active. It's proudly made in Nigeria for the world. We are very enthused and happy, right, that we are able to create this platform, and it's helping not just SMEs in reaching out their customers, in operating a paperless, work anywhere capacity to business management.
Hello.
Okay,
Hello.
you're back.
Okay, you're welcome,
Lawale,
sir.
please continue, sir.
Sorry, I did not know technology. Sorry, please. Yes, I was talking on finance, that finance is a major challenge, and that the agency or the policy has made several recommendations. Then one other area that the policy had also made recommendation borders on compliance, climate regulatory environment, where we have CAC, NAFDAC, SON, IRS, the various revenue generation bodies in the state and national. So what the policy has said is to see how can all these compliance institutions, regulatory institutions, why not jeopardizing their work? It also ensures that the MSMEs that they are to midwife also have an enabling environment to operate. Then the other area that I talked about that the policy mentioned is technology research and development. Like I said, technology is what is driving the entire world now. Whether government, business, even relationships, technology is the one driving it. So there are several recommendations in the policy that borders or that can be captured under the technology research and development area. And like I said, this is one of the 9 policy areas that the policy focuses on. Like I said, like I was saying, I was just talking to myself, I didn't know. Infrastructure is a major issue, a major limitation to the operations of the micro, small, and medium enterprises. The cost of running business in Nigeria is high because most of our MSMEs are local government to themselves. They provide water, they provide electricity, up to the point of coming together to provide even roads. And understanding that the world has become a global village, nobody wants to know whether Nigeria MSMEs don't have access to light. They don't want to know whether they don't have access to water. The world is competitive. And if they cannot compete because of price, then it means that Nigerians that are here will even be buying things that are not produced here. So the policy had made serious recommendations on how or what Nigerian government, even the private sector, needs to do to ensure that we have enabling environment as regards. What is this again now? Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, can hear you now. It was breaking, but can hear you now.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Hello?
It was breaking before.
Hello?
We can hear you, sir.
Oh.
We can hear you, sir.
Hello?
Hello? You are on. Hello?
Oh my God. Hello?
Go ahead, sir.
Hello?
Hello? Okay. I think something is wrong with this link.
Hello? Hello?
We can hear you, sir.
Where did I drop off again?
You...
I can hear you.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Anyway, the policy document had the policy document had made recommendations that bordered on 9 areas, and I was just talking about infrastructure. That infrastructure, the cost of infrastructure has made our MSMEs not to be competitive. And now that we know that there's no boundaries in the global market, then we have to do everything possible to see how we can make sure that the infrastructure, which essentially borders on power, road, water, and all that, to be sure that our MSMEs are competitive. Can you hear me, please? I think I have to be doing this all the time. Hello?
We can hear you, sir. We
Okay.
can hear you, sir.
I need to be sure so that I don't keep talking to myself. Now, I was also talking about the new initiatives in this new policy, and I talked about the provision for a public-private implementation platforms, where the policy had made provision for opportunities for various players within the MSME space to come together in the implementation of this platform. And I also talked about the engagement, the several stakeholders engagement that the agency had while going through the process of revising this new policy. We went around the whole geopolitical zones, engaging with very key stakeholders. Then there's also the establishment of a policy secretariat in SMEDAN. What they do is to coordinate the activities that borders on the policy recommendations in Nigeria. Then there's also the provision of the seat or a co-chair position at the National Council for MSMEs and even the State Council on MSMEs. What this means is that unlike before, where it was just the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that is the Chairperson of the National Council on MSMEs, we now have provision for a seat or a co-chair position by the BMOs, very active BMOs. We co-chair with the Vice President at the national level, and at the state level, we co-chair with the Deputy Governor or whoever is the Chairperson at the state level. Then there's also now hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can
hear you.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Now, there's another initiative is the constitution of the Ministries Development Department and agency, department and agencies focal persons. What it means is the agency or the provision, the national policy had made provision where we now have focal persons in all relevant institutions, all the institutions that have responsibilities that borders on the development of the subsector. So they come together. So the minister inaugurated them, and we now have direct persons that we can contact from all the ministries, departments, and agencies across the country. We have that at the national level, and we also working towards having it at the subnational levels. Then the policy also made clear definition or role assignment to the various ministries, departments, and agencies, telling them these are the expectations for each department, each MDA, for the duration of this the revised national policy. Also, one of the innovation initiative is also we now have an independent monitoring and evaluation committee that monitors the processes, the activities, the various activities that are recommended in the national policy and report back to the secretariat to see who is doing what and who is not doing what. Also, we now have provision for the civil societies to be member of the M&E and even the general supervision of the development process of the MSME policy. There's also the regular engagement with stakeholders to feel the pulse of what they are thinking about or how the development of the MSME is going in and as it affects them. And I think this is something that the Empower Nigeria, Empower Africa is also helping us to achieve by riding on this platform. I want to use this opportunity to thank Empower Africa for this opportunity. Then we now want to look at, hello, can we hear me, please?
Clearly, sir.
Okay. Now, no matter how beautiful some of these policies are, whether it is national policy on MSME or any other policy, we have found out that there are some challenges. They always face some challenges, and I think that is one of the worries and one of the reasons why this program is holding now. Now we are transiting, or we are about transiting from one government to another. What happens to so many other policies? Beautiful policies that money has been invested into, such as this national policy on MSMEs. And that is why we took our time to see, okay, what can affect the implementation of the policy implementation? One is poor information sharing. I can tell you that up to 30–40% of MSMEs don't know about the national policy on MSMEs. So, and even within agencies, whatever they are doing, they don't share information. There's also, that leads also to this lack of interagency synergy. Most of the agencies that borders or that have their mandate bordering on the development of the micro, small, and medium enterprises don't share. There's no synergy between them. All of them have this silo mentality. They don't work together. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Then there's also the challenge of bureaucratic bottlenecks. We have feedbacks from MSMEs that have tried to access some funding opportunity windows, some that want to maybe get their products registered with some of all these enabling or compliance institutions, and the kind of delays they experience, bureaucratic bottleneck that they experience, that is so frustrating to them. Those are some of the challenges that inhibit the smooth implementation of some policy implementations. Then you now see that some policies are actually overambitious in nature, making it very, very difficult to be implemented, making it very, very difficult for clear understanding of potential players in the process. For instance, Mr. Olasen talked about the Startup Act. Yes, it's a beautiful policy, but do we really have a clear understanding of what it is and how it is to be done? Some policies are somehow overambitious in nature. Then you see some agencies or some organizations that are supposed to drive the process of implementation of the policies don't have the requisite manpower and sometimes the financial resources. We are government institutions, and I cannot run away from the fact that we are sometimes constrained by funds, limited funds. So the beautiful recommendations in national policy are there, but how much of it can we have enough funds to actually implement? Sometimes it becomes a problem. Then with the fact that is the fear of Mr. Olasen is this abrupt determination of extant or existing policies. For whatever reason, you know, this government can, Nigerian government, we are so fond of terminating without any reason, maybe any beautiful policy. It could be for personal reasons, it could be for maybe hello. Okay, it could just be that, okay, I'm a new government and I want to start something new. So let us just terminate whatever was in existence before now. So now, what are the policy prospects? Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, now, what are the policy prospects? What are the opportunities in this new policy? What are the opportunities in this new policy? The new policy has made provision for women funding, access to women funding. If you look at the recommendations under the finance, you see that the access to fund for women was given top priority, because it is beginning to look as if women are better fund manager or enterprise managers than the men. And in as much as they have been found to be better in that aspect, their access to that fund is not as easy as it is for men. So the policy had tried to address such challenge. Then the policy also look at how do we increase our windows of export? How do we connect our SMEs to the export market, which is very, very huge? We can no longer focus on the domestic market. There is opportunities, huge opportunities that Nigerian MSMEs must key into. So the prospect is there in this policy. One other problem that we've taken that also limited the growth, the sustainable growth of the MSME subsector is the poor integration by large enterprises. There's huge market. Some of all these outputs of these micro, small, and medium enterprises are input to these large enterprises. So the policy had tried to see how they can create an integration, a backward integration of large enterprises to MSMEs. Then there's also the competitiveness of MSMEs in Nigeria. The policy has looked at how do we make sure, or how do we ensure that MSMEs in Nigeria are competitive. For your information, the agency is working with Faith Foundation to do a sort of an annual competitiveness research on MSMEs. We want them to tell us why is it that Nigerian MSMEs, which sometimes we take some of all these things for granted. We say we are not competitive because of power, because of the price, because of the cost of this or that. But we are believing that with the report, with the research report from Faith Foundation, Nigerians should be able to address the poor competitiveness of our MSMEs in Nigeria. The infrastructure improvement, there's also the provision for private-public partnership in the provision of infrastructure for MSMEs. For instance, the agency has on its own provided here in Abuja a common processing facility for people that are in furniture making enterprise. So if other organizations can key into initiatives such as this, we are indirectly creating access to infrastructure for MSMEs, because some of all those equipment cannot be, the MSMEs cannot afford it by themselves. But if we have organizations or large enterprises that can help in providing some of all this infrastructure or some of all this equipment, it makes the competitiveness much easier for MSMEs. Power supply is also an issue that inhibits MSMEs. There's enough recommendations in the national policy on how this can be addressed. Then compliance to standards, standard by NAFDA, standard or registration by CAC, and so many other compliance institutions. There are more than enough recommendations there. Then packaging and branding is also an issue that provide opportunities for growing the MSME subsector. Like I said, the implementation or the national policy became active in 2021, let's say mid-2021. From 2021 till date, how far have we gone with several recommendations? Now, so far, the MDA focal persons have been inaugurated, and now we have over 47 MDAs that have keyed into the new national policy on MSMEs. We've had several meetings, and the suggestions or the recommendations are being captured and secured in the Secretariat. Then we have also inaugurated 8 new state councils across Nigeria. Like I said, the state council is the organ for making policies or implementing the policies recommendations at the state level. And they work with the state government. The membership is drawn from the state government, the MSME space, and some enablers. So we've so far inaugurated 8 new state councils, and we have also reactivated or re-energized 13 state councils that were initially inaugurated before now, but were inactive. So 13 of such have been reactivated. Altogether, we have about 15 states that are yet to inaugurate their state council.
I called you. This man is taking you. I don't have the luxury of time.
Hello.
Taking 1 hour. No, no.
Let me. Okay. Let me round up then. Let me round up. Sorry.
Oh, sorry,
Now,
he wasn't referring to you. I think it's a different. His speaker is on.
Just
I
appeal
am
to people who are not speaking to mute their mic. That's it.
no, I am just I'm rounding up now because, like I said, we have the suggested members of the State Council on MSMEs. Here we have about 16 or 17 recommendations. These are mere recommendations. When we went around the state, we usually tell them that this is not cast in stone. They can decide who to be member of their own state councils. Just like I said, the only difference here is at the national level, we have the vice president as chairperson. Then at the state level, we have the executive governor as chairperson, but most times they elect they ask their deputy governor to be the chairperson in the state. And for the co-chair, they use any of these. Most times we recommend that the chambers of commerce or any active BMOs that is in their state can co-chair. Then SMEDAN state office usually serve as a secretariat. Then if they have state agency for SME development, they are also member. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry are members, Ministry of Agri, and like Mr. Ola said, most states don't have the kind of ministry that they have at the state. So it depends on what the kind of ministry they have. But we said that Ministry of Finance should be member, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Youth, Ministry of Women Affairs. Then there should be a representative from the civil society, one representative. There should be a member from the State Revenue Agency, one representative from 5 active structured BMOs and organized private sector. The media is supposed to be there. One representative from ALGON, one representative from the Microfinance Banks Association in the state, then one representative from the development partners, if there is any in the state. Then also we recommend that one representative from the CBN, NAFDAC, SON, BOI, BOA, NASSA, NEPC, CAC, if they are in the state. So this is how far I'm going to go, and I want to thank you for the patience and sorry for the challenges of network and breaking transmission. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much. We appreciate Mr. Onesi for that presentation. Thanks so much. Please, let's have our questions and to be able to ask them together. And that's why we have our representatives as a VIP representing the BMOs. I just want to note out that he mentioned some agencies. Of course, we have one of the agencies, and we actually have one that is giving us problem. I won't say giving us problem, but a way that we actually wanted. We were thinking of bringing them, getting across to the Corporate Affairs Commission, because the NMSMEs in Nigeria, we are not actually. There are great services coming from CAC, but somehow it seems there is a gap. You can't really communicate the way we can communicate with other agencies. So anyway, that's we will have when the discussion gets there, because we want to actually, anything that is kind of issue, we want to see how we can really have them solved. So we have Mr. Fale Babatunde representing the CEO, the Nigerian Stock Promotion Commission, and right now he has the floor before we bring in all our MPO's representative. Mr. Babatunde, please, I don't know if you have a slide or you speaking direct. So do we still have him? Mr. Babatunde, please, are you there? So Mr. Onesi, after Mr. Babatunde, like we have in the program, we'll be having the BMO's commitment, situation reports and concerns. Each will have the 3 representatives in the House, and then we'll have the speaker responses, then questions, general questions and answers. So is Mr. Babatunde ready in the House? You're welcome, sir. Over to you, Mr. Babatunde.
I think Mr. Babatunde has a network issue too.
Okay, it has
a network issue, yeah.
Okay,
He has dropped off. Yeah. Okay,
maybe we bring. Okay.
Back, yeah.
All right.
It's a technical issue, please, because I could not unmute myself before now. So, but it's okay now.
So you have the floor now, sir.
Yeah, please. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and we appreciate the effort of organizing this. Well, quickly, what I have to say is just in about 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I will be done. It's about you are talking about ease of doing export business from Nigeria. I will tell you, ease of doing export business from Nigeria. The topic looks, too simple. I will not say too simple. It looks as if it's easy. It's not easy. Let's call it a spade a spade. The officer from SMEDAN just spoke now about the enormous challenge we have in terms of doing business in Nigeria. But that I will not delve to that again. But I will also say I would rather look at what are the support we are giving to exporters of MSME origin. I will look at that straight, and I'll be talking about. Am I online, please? Because I'm hearing some background.
Yes, you are
Hello.
on.
Okay.
You are on, sir.
Gentlemen, you should please mute your mic when you are not talking. Somebody is talking from the back.
I'll be talking about our activities. But first and foremost, for the purpose of becoming an exporter, there are certain things you need to do. Number one, we expect that for you to be a player in the export business, you must be a registered limited liability. We don't accept business name for now. You must be either an NGO or you must be a cooperative. And to register, you just go online. It's not difficult. Registration online is you get a certificate under 24 hours. And how much are you paying? 13,500 to register as an exporter. And after registration, the next thing you will be required to do is to take some training in terms of export clinic. We do export clinic. We try to see how we guide you. And basically, what we'll be telling you is about export guide and talking about the 9 steps that you have to take to become an exporter. We talk about export readiness. We talk about e-registration. We talk about understanding the market. We talk about export plan. We talk about export documentation and procedures. We will also talk about logistics and freight. We also talk about export pricing, financing, and the legal issues. These are the basic things we normally provide when you register with us as an exporter and to be trained. But we expect that before you become an exporter, you must check yourself. Am I export ready? And how do you do that? Number one, to be export ready, you must have a product. And a product, sometimes I tell people, it's not about physical product. It could be service. It could be logistics. But what do you have to offer the world? Because export business is about trading across the border, trading beyond the border, trading across with other countries, either bilateral or multilateral. That is what it is. But what do you have to offer? You must first perfect that one. And again, I will talk about the support we give MSMEs. The support we give MSME mostly is about capacity building. Number one, what do you mean by capacity building? You are green in export business, you are new. There's a program we call Zero to Export. That means we take you from A to Z of export. What do you need to do? If you want to be a commodity exporter, most times we provide mentorship program so that you can understand what it takes to export. Again, we also look about sponsorship to international trade fairs. Across the board, if you have a product, you are export ready, this is another class of exporters. When you have a product, we want to showcase you in the world by participation in trade fair. And the support we provide for trade fairs that we identify the trade fair that suits your product. For example, if you are producing let me say confectionaries now, and we felt your confectionery by your standard, it will be in African countries. We take it to African countries, for example, and then when we are doing that, the support we give is that we normally give 50% rebate on ticket. If it costs 700,000 for the ticket, we'll give you 350 when you have arrived over there. When you return, you prove that you really attended. Then we provide the exhibition space for you free. We also provide logistics while over there in terms of accommodation. In terms of providing the interpreter. Then you expect that you'll be able to cater for your staying there, and also do other things. Then we'll do advertisement. We'll do all logistics that you needed. We'll clear your goods. We carry at least 50 kg minimum as product samples for you. All this we do, and then we advertise. Mostly MSME that the major one that attend to us. And of recent, we started partnership with SMEDAN to see how we can increase that participation. We did two together now in Gambia. We were in Gambia last year with MSME all together, and this year we're also in Gambia for 1 month trying to promote MSMEs product across the globe. And that thing again is product certification. We support you by what we call Go Global certification. What do you mean by Go Global certification? We discovered a lot of MSME needed their product to be certified, but unfortunately the cost of certification is very expensive. So we take it off you. We advertise even about a month or two ago. We advertised for MSME we advertised for this certification body to come and certify some MSME. Last year, I think around November, we already picked about 200 MSMEs whose product will be certified under ISO, under ASIP, under GAP, under FDA. So we pay for this, all expenses paid in terms of certification, so that with the certification, your product becomes competitive. In terms of product certification, we do that a lot to support. Then capacity building is not only what we do. We also collaborate with donor agencies like CBI now is training some people on ginger, and we can export ginger to European countries. All this we do technically. All we do is provide support. And again, we export. We also support in terms of providing seedlings, especially for farmers. Some farmers that are in high demand. For example, some few years ago, I think about 4 years ago, we provided for a group of farmers in cocoa. We got them improved seedlings. Yeah, you ask, why is NEPC doing this? We are doing that. It's not a mandate, it's not a core mandate, but we go beyond our beyond our core mandate to ensure that products are of high quality. And we work with agencies in the research institutes to make sure that this is done. And to prove a point, we buy seedling. Okay, if you do this way, you will see that the quality, the production in terms of quality and quantity, we increase, we improve. So we go a long way to do that in product support. And apart from that, there are other intervention programs we have. There's what we call DEW, Domestic Export Warehouse, where now you don't need, because of the Papa gridlock and every other thing, we have some locations in Kaduna, in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, where you can assemble your goods. Every agency that needed to certify or give certification for export will give you in that place. You don't need to go all out because of logistic problem. And there's another thing we are doing now. We call it export warehouse. If you are very current, you will see that we are in China now, trying to launching the export house in China. What does that one do? The export house in the other country, outside the country, is about SME. That MSME need to maintain a permanent representation in another country. The export house is to aggregate all products from Nigeria so that you can put your product as a sample in that export house. If you have an order, the operator of the export house will assist you in connecting you to market and helping you. And when your goods comes, it stores it for you. But of course, because it's public-private partnership, you have a fee to pay. But this is taking off burden of you traveling all over to that country, and it's time to look for market. The export has to also do market research and intervally share the information. And for now, we have about 4 that is already established. We have in Togo, we have in Kenya, we have in Egypt, and now we have in China. Saudi is on this way, and we're also working to have one in Dubai. We are planning to have other places in South Africa and also in Canada, in US, but all these are subject to availability of funds. But we are presently in 4 locations now, and as we talk and as we speak. And then what we do is about making sure that the place is aggregates Nigeria product. It operates, let me say, it operates like the kind of John Oates, where all products of Nigeria will be there in that country, and the operator will also assist in marketing, certification. But for example, in Kenya now, if you are to enter Kenya, you need the certification of Kenya Standard Board. The operator assists to ensure that your product meets the requirement over there by telling you what to do and the steps you need to take. That's about export market and a lot of other things. We also work with city chambers to do trade mission, and then we also work with our missions abroad in terms of business organization, in terms of one-on-one business, in terms of what we call contact promotion program. If you have a product and it's unique and you want to do market penetration in that country, we work with our mission abroad and tell them, oh, there's a unique product that we have, and that if it's only you, as long as you can prove that you have done your research and that this product is acceptable in that country, we support you. All these are what we do in export. And I can tell you, it's good. We also talk about packaging, because packaging is a problem in the years back. It's no longer a problem. I can tell you that 5-6 years ago, it's a major challenge. But now, with the support of the NEPC in terms of telling you how your content, how to package your product, how to make your presentation acceptable to the world, and then also to look at the standard what standard best practice in terms of packaging. We do that a lot. We have a whole of packaging unit in our service that help the SME on packaging. And apart from that, we also have what we call inclusive export business, which involve majorly the youth and women and the less privileged, the fiscally challenged people. We do that to make sure that everybody is encouraged. And apart from that, we have export incentive that we give for exporters that exported certain goods in terms of EEG export expansion grant. And we also do EDF, Export Development Fund, to support SMEs in the area of research, in the area of packaging, in the area of participation in trade fair, in the area of drawing feasibility plan, in the area of training. All this we do through provision of incentives. We have quite a number of things that we offer in terms of services, because we recognize that MSME is the bedrock of any economy, because a lot of them do similar things but with uniqueness in their product. We offer all this. We also do what we call training courses. We do symposia. We also support in export research studies. We also export in product design and consultancy. And again, we also disseminate information about market a lot. If you go to our website is very, very interactive. We have a lot of things that we write there that you can encourage yourself. And we have a program that we call One State, One Product. What does One State, One Product does? We are working with state government to ensure that they identify one product in that state and put resources behind it to make sure that it's promoted to export value, and it's increased. It's increased, the value is increasing, and we have good products to export. And we are working with, and as administration, we have state agencies. We are in all states of the federation. We have our market there. We have our offices there. We work with the State Ministry of Commerce, and our office is based mostly in the Commerce Department, where we work with the state to develop their products in the area of product development and researching into what you have, what you don't have, and how do we move it forward. This about institutionalizing it, and presently we are in about 34 states where we have what we call our smart offices, state coordinating offices over there. We do a lot of things in terms of supporting MSME. We recognize and appreciate MSME as the major drive for export, and these are all we do. And we also identify about 22 products that we say, okay, there are low-hanging fruits that people can invest in terms of export drive. And we share this information. You can visit any of our state offices. They work with MSME, and majorly we work with SMEDAN so much that now we're like twin sisters under the same ministry. I think that's what I want to say for now. If there are questions, I will take it. My colleague is also on ground, Mrs. Kufon, to also provide, because I may have to leave in about 15 minutes to attend other things. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thanks so much, Mr. Faleke Babatunde. Yes, 15 minutes. I'm afraid you will need to permit to wait with us because we have the representative of BMOs. I need us to understand this. Whatever is working best. We've planned this, and for some months, letters been passed across because this is the concern of the MSMEs, and if it's the concern, it's good we find sometimes once in a while we find the time to get them solved instead of
let us not argue these ones. I've said somebody is on ground. He's the deputy director of this school.
All right, we appreciate that.
Somebody, so as my colleague is on ground.
Oh, great. Thank you,
because
sir.
she's the one that been relating with you so far. So
exactly. I've seen her on the platform.
Yes, she's on ground. That's what I said. Well, it's personal.
So without wasting time. Okay,
yes.
thanks, sir. Without wasting time, it's good to bring up the BMOs. We'll start with Association of Small Business Owners in Nigeria. Small businesses are the concern of SMEs, are the SMEDAN when Nino has to enter. And now we have in the house Mr. Femi, who are known for years and doing very well with SMEs, doing very well, putting all his effort. At least I've been in so many trainings that he had to handle. Dr. Femi Egbesola, for years, as the art for businesses, especially the small businesses in Nigeria. And so today is in the house with us, and they will be sharing with us about the ASBON's commitments, the situation reports, and the concerns as regards the policy, as regards doing businesses in Nigeria, as regards doing the business, the export business. In ASBON, there are so many departments, there are so many businesses, and they've had series of experiences. So let's hear from Mr. Femi. Next 15 minutes, he will be sharing the experience of ASBON and the concern. That's why we put the commitment, the situation report, and the concerns. Thank you, sir. Mr. Femi. Do you have Mr. Femi with us? Sorry, Dr. Femi Egbesola. Are you in the house, sir? Okay, maybe let's
okay,
see.
can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Okay. Oh, Dr. Femi, you're welcome, sir. Yeah, yes. We can hear you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Permit me to start on existing protocol and at the same time give thanks to the organizers of this wonderful program. It's the kind of program we need to be having from time to time so that those of us from the private sector and then those from the government sector can have a platform to bring our issues together and see how we can interconnect and provide solutions beyond what we already have. Like the MC has mentioned, I am to speak on the ASBON commitment to MSME policy and export business, situation report, and that's the topic. And I would want to dwell more on exports because I'm sure quite a number of speakers will talk about our domestic issues. So let me now talk.
We're not hearing from Mr. Maybe we bring another.
Hello, sir. Can you hear us?
Yes.
No, I'm not referring to you, sir.
Okay. So maybe we just because we have the time. Let's bring other DMO. We have the representative of Mrs. Patricia is in the house, representing the NACCIMA Women Business Group. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Femi Egbesola, you are back, sir.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know I was offline already. So
yes,
as I was mentioning before, I said one of the challenge has been informational barrier, that many of the SMEs are not aware of the programs, the support and initiative of governments and other organizations that are being geared towards supporting MSMEs. And the research shows that about 20-30% are those that are taking advantage of some of this information because they are aware. So what do we do as an association to support this? We partner with corporate organizations in training and retraining of our people who are into exports. We created an export group so that they can always network between themselves and share news and information. We also collaborate with export consultants to come in and train our people on how best to grow about it and provide them with latest information and ideas. We also liaise with Nigerian Export Promotion Council for training and retraining and certification of our members. Another barrier, the second one that is internal, is financial barriers. Financial barriers is about the kind of obstacles MSMEs face when they need funds to go into exports. Lack of finance to support export activities is indeed a big challenge in this part of the world. And that survey helps us to realize that less than 30% of MSMEs are able to access finance for export purposes. And this is enough to discourage MSMEs, and it is actually working against us. And you would discover that for you to go into export, you need a large sum of funds to be able to do so. Unfortunately, the banks too are not helping out because their conditions for export does not favor small and micro businesses. What solution do we offer in our association as ASBON? What we do is that we partner with international funding organizations that offer single-digit interest rates. One of such international funding organizations partnering with us is Growing. We also negotiate with local financial institutions, that is the banks, to help our members to ease access to loan at reduced interest rates. We also make sure that we continue to tap into available government intervention funding programs for exports. We also work hand in hand with Nigerian Import-Export Bank, that is the NEPC. We do also have a cooperative society in place that helps to do some kind of funding for those who are into exports. The third internal barrier is marketing barrier, and that is ability to be able to sell your product outside the shores of this country through exports. Well, and it has to do with making sure that your product conforms with the standard that is expected in the foreign country you want to take it to, making sure that the pricing, the distribution, the logistics, the promotional activities are right abroad. Unfortunately, MSMEs do not have the resources and the capacity to be able to do all of this most of the time. And what do? We, as an association, help them to be able to get in-house export marketing training. We help them to identify reliable foreign partners that they can deal with in the country they intend to sell their products or service. We also make sure that we have affiliation with partners in those foreign countries to supply us information on marketing support services. And we also expose them to government-organized trainings. And one of such trainings is being organized from time to time by the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Now let's leave that and look at the external barriers. One of those external barriers is, can you hear me? Am I still audible?
Yeah.
Am I okay?
You are on, sir.
Yeah. Okay, then. One of the external barriers is competitor barriers. That is one of the constraints limiting MSMEs to be able to compete favorably in the foreign markets, because the competition is stiff. And for us to be able to compete very well, it means that MSMEs need to develop their own unique competitive strategy when faced with competition from foreign companies. We also understand that as an SME, we are contending with a lot of multinationals that have all the funds to do whatever they needed to do to compete in the international markets. What solution do we provide in our own association as ASBON? We created an R&D department funded by the association that provides detailed research information that helps those who want to go to the export market to be able to compete with their intended foreign country market. We also make sure that we provide certain kind of hand-holding for those who also want to do so. We also render technical support through our technical partners in the export business. And at the same time, like I mentioned at the other time, we have a group called the ASBON Export Group that provide other kind of support for those who want to go into exports or already in exports and needed to compete favorably. The second external factor is procedural barriers. It becomes very difficult for SMEs to understand and manage the complexity of Nigerian customs documentation and its bureaucracy and some other that kind of documentation and certification that they need. What solution do we provide in that regard? We invite personnel from the Nigerian Customs Service to come and give us training and discuss how this can be done seamlessly. We also invite the Nigerian Export Promotion Council to come to our meetings to discuss with our members and even organize trainings where they can always do so. We also understand that these government agencies on their own do organize their own training too. So we help members to take advantage of this training that is being done independently by this body that talks about documentation and procedural action for exports. The third external barrier we shall be looking at, which is the final external barrier, is a governmental and policy barrier. Yes, and for SMEs wishing to go into exports, it is important for them to understand government matters, government policies, and government dictates as it concerns exports, and be able to confront those policy barriers. But unfortunately, those barriers have been even complicated by government because of so many actions and inaction taken by government. And government too have not provided enough support and incentive to help SMEs to participate in the global market the way we should. Well, we should understand, like I mentioned earlier, that we have a lot of multinational corporations that are at the forefront of this process, and they are also there to sell. So any effort they can do to stifle out or mitigate MSMEs, small business owners, micro business owners, medium business owners from also taking advantage of this export opportunity is their goal. But what do we do as an association to assist in this? Well, we make sure that we provide our members with critical information on government policies and that they can help to be able to address those issues. We also do a lot of advocacy to government to make sure that stakeholders are included in government policy decision-making processes, because it is easier for us to tackle policies at their early stage, at the incubation stage, and when they are already made and being passed down our throats. And for this, we have been able to get some results. Quite some organizations, some agencies, some ministries are now including us in their policy process, calling on us to help to review some of these policies before they are finally passed into an act or a law. I would want to stop there and just quickly comment on the national policy, the MSME national policy. We have had the representative of NAFDAC talking extensively on this, and if you look at our policy, you would see that its content is not too much different from the previous policies and programs of governments on the MSME. However, the problem is the ability to actually implement such policy provisions to make sure that they meet its objectives and strategies. Hence, good intention is not enough. The implementation of such policies must be ensured. And while the intention of the MSME are noble, that this policy is noble, without the political will to create an enabling environment, this 2021 to 2025 policy is likely to end the same way as many other policies in Nigeria has ended, that is, being unable to meet their intended objective to support the growth of a strong and vibrant MSME sector. What do I mean? Let me give you an instance. the representative from SMEDAN was able to highlight the importance of the National Council on MSME as stipulated in the National Policy on Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise 2021 to 2025 edition. But if you ask me, I'm a major player in the industry. You will discover that quite a number of states have their MSME council either not inaugurated or inactive, as he has rightly mentioned. Like the state I come from, I don't want to mention the state for other reasons, we have an inaugurated MSME council. But from the day of the inauguration, nothing has happened. And also, too, that policy states that this also should be replicated in the local governments. All the local governments in Nigeria, about 774 local governments. How many local government has the National MSME Council being replicated in their local governments? I doubt if there is any. And what's the problem with this? The problem with it is that as noble as our policies has always been, implementation is the problem. There is really nothing done or little done on monitoring and evaluation of these policies. How has the government, how has the SMEDAN, how has other agencies that are in charge of policy making gone down to look at how these policies are working? Are they really working? Are they just on the paper? What have been done to make sure that those pain points that are identified are addressed and we move on? And this is because really we do not have enough collaboration between government and the stakeholders. This time around, I'm talking of stakeholders in the MSME ecospace. If we are able to come together to have more collaboration, more partnership, you will discover that we will be able to have better policies that are being implemented to the letter. While government on their own can make policies, it is difficult for them to monitor the implementation of these policies. It is our duty to work with government to do this, if only they collaborate enough with us. Because of time, I would like to stop here. And once again, thank you very much for the opportunity and your listening attention.
Oh, thanks so much. That was good. And of course, this is what we are talking about. We're able to hear from ASBON, and then by the time we hear from the agencies, we hear from ASBON, then at least we can be able to come up with, looking at the challenges and the solutions, and then even the understanding, the BMOs can go back to the go back home and be able to discuss that, okay, this is, we've presented it and this is what we have. So that's why we'll be having response. So right now, let's have we'll be having the Mrs. Patricia representing the NACCIMA Women Group in Business. And I know Biola Olushola is there. So please, Ms. Patricia, are you ready? Or we bring Dr. Henry representing NASSI?
Yeah, okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Nice to be with you. The NACCIMA Business Women Group, as we know, is the women group in the Nigeria Association of Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. It's a trade group there. Greetings to you from my chairperson, Honorable Aisha Abubakah. What we do, we bring the women together. Please, can you hear me? Hello?
We can. Yeah, yes.
Okay. What we do, we bring women together. As our name implies, commerce, agriculture, industry, and the rest is a very wide one. Agriculture alone, some produce, some add value, some put finishing products in the market, some even export. In our group, we also encourage women in the IT system because we meet with the grassroots. When you say MSME, you find that women are more there. You say MSME, you see the informal sector more in MSME. So we bring the women together, we train them. We also do advocacy. There is one we are even doing now on tax, because the women in the market, you find that they pay daily That money they pay sometimes is more than what the corporate organizations pay. We do seminars, and when we go out to train women, we don't use only English. We use the language they understand, because if we come out to talk to women and we speak English and at the end of the day they don't understand, it becomes a problem. We look out for those that speak even local languages to talk to the women. We also have the women in the manufacturing sector. Our women, we train them from the grassroots again. Let's look at ordinary coconut oil. Coconut oil, we have women that can produce in drums for you if you need them. We also, hello.
Continue, ma'am.
Okay. So we also help women to identify soft loan. We found out that even though government is giving out loan, to meet the criteria is difficult. What else did we do? We are bringing the women together to create a multipurpose cooperative society where they can easily run to help themselves before that government loan can come out. Even those that have collected loan from banks, paying back, you know how difficult it is. When you say you have taken loan, you want to manufacture, look at power, for instance. Now, how much do people pay for diesel to manufacture? Then by the time you use high cost of diesel to manufacture your products, how do you do the markup? How do you sell? So those are many other things we do in NACCIMA Business Women Group. Hello?
Yeah, you are on.
Okay, I think my system is fluctuating.
Okay.
Yes, we also do women empowerment, where we are able to collect something for exports. NEPC has helped us with deep trainings for those that are doing exports. By the special grace of God, some of them are now exporting. Hello?
Continue, man. You are on.
I can't. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you, man. Continue.
We can hear you, ma, but the network seems to be fluctuating badly.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So for poverty alleviation, we still try our best to make sure we reach out to those women. The women in the grassroots, we really carry them along. Thank you. My network is not very strong, so I'm so sorry.
No problem. No problem. We can. I know that Biola is in the house as well. So my hand is good. I think it's from that, but we can really hear you. Only that is fluctuating.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. We also encourage women in participation for commerce and governance. Like those who are not manufacturing, they are into distribution. We encourage them to. And when we do workshops for women, we make sure we understand that for that tax training I'm talking about is very important. If MSME group can come together and identify how to make our tax work for us, you find that we won't have problem with bad road network, because government will have enough money to do the road for us. We won't have problem with security. There will be enough money for everybody to use, and we won't have a problem again. So when we come together with our business idea, I believe MSME will continue to do better. Thank you.
Thank so very much, Mrs. Patricia Idakoa. That was a good one. And we want to really appreciate the NACCIMA, the women, the NACCIMA business group, women business group. Like we can see all the projects, they are wonderful, they are laudable. I mean, that is encouraging. And we thank God that globally we begin, it's now we are seeing it. And I believe we're able to do more for female entrepreneurship. One thing I always encourage is that we should, for all of us, no matter the region we come from, it's time we should be able to encourage female entrepreneurship, especially for digital entrepreneurship. That's another aspect we need to touch. We want to see more females going into digital entrepreneurship, because now 75% of talking business is talking digital. So that's
yes.
Key. And then I like the idea of people we coming together, knowing that tax is key. And this, I mean, we have our ways of supporting government, and we appreciate for that. And then we're having response from Sweden. We've had some of the things, and like you mentioned, NEPC doing some things and that. So for NASSI, do we have Dr. Henry in the house? Is Dr. Henry in the house? Before we have our speakers back to respond to all the BMOs and the questions that will be coming. Do you have Dr. Henry? And then from the, while we're waiting.
Not here at the moment.
Okay, so please follow up, and then let's have on the platform of the VIP, do you have any question before we go to the, so that they can have the response together before we go to general question? Please, do we have any question from the VIP before? What we're going to do is that we take that, then we have our speakers come up with the response. Then we take other questions from where I'll go on YouTube and get us the questions we have there. So in the house, do we have any question? All right, let's welcome Mr. Onese Lawani as he respond, because we don't have Dr. Henry now. So I see he'll be responding to ASBON and the NACCIMA women group in business. Thank you, sir.
All right. Good morning once again, and I want to once again appreciate Empower Africa for this opportunity. I want to quickly respond to I think two issues that came from Dr. What's his name again? He talked about the challenge of policy implementation in Nigeria, and that is something that the agency is fully aware. And even while we were doing the review process, we put that into cognizance. Anyway, a quick response to that is that the agency or the policy had put in place a coordination mechanism. And if you remember, I talked about having 47 focal persons group to ensure that the policy recommendation or the policy is not seen as a SMEDAN thing. And also, we also, to ensure that there's ownership of the policy, we went around and captured the input from every key stakeholder. So we are aware that policy implementation is always a problem, but we also want to believe that with the coordination mechanism put in place and the regular interface that the agency is having with stakeholders, policy implementation should not be too much of a problem. We are not looking at achieving 100% of what the policy says we should do between 2021 and 2025. And that is why I say that if we can achieve even 40%, we will go a long way in making a difference in the Nigerian MSME space. The monitoring issue, like I said, we have an independent monitoring team, which the civil society are member, the media, they are member of. So these people are working and they are not controlled or within the ambit of the agency. So whatever policy, whatever findings they come up with will be in the open. And I don't think anybody is going to dispute that. And I want us to also know that implementation of the policy is not the sole responsibility of the agency. We are all stakeholders and we all have roles to play. But what we have unfortunately found out is everybody or some organizations, just once they come up with an idea, it is backed up with money. And these monies are not easy to come by. We are trying as much as possible within our own funding capacity to ensure that we do what we can in achieving what we want to achieve. But we also need to understand that SMEDAN is an agency that is solely dependent on government funding. So that is why if you listen to my presentation, I highlighted the issues, the challenges of policy implementation, and we are very much aware of that. So we need the cooperation of everybody, cooperation of the MDAs, cooperation of the BMOs, cooperation of everybody to ensure that we do that. For the monitoring, and like I said, we've done what we are supposed to do. An independent monitoring team is in place. We also have a monitoring by the MDAs that is in place to ensure that we are able to do what we intend to do with the policy recommendations. Thank you.
Will be asked. Let's ask Mr. Babatu. I actually have some key issues I raised. You know, I talked about CAC, but we'll come back to that. So let's have Mr. Babatunde to his response to ASBON and to the women in business, women group in business, NACCIMA women in business. Thank you.
You know, Babatunde said he will be off, that somebody will be standing in for him.
So, but I'm trying to see, okay, I think we have Mrs. Kufon. Please, are you there, Mrs. Kufon, so that we can have your
response? Having issues joining in with her mic. I had actually contacted Aisha. She said she was going to try it again. So
okay.
I still having issues. Yes, so she's having issues joining with her mic.
Okay, please follow up. Let's take all the questions we have. We have some questions, and I was saying something, please. And I think at this junction is SMEDAN that can actually help us. Let me tell you something. Why we were planning this program, and why I will tell you why we decided to make that move, take the step, and we try to work on it. Now, during the COVID and the Survivor Fund, we remember that federal government of Nigeria registered, I think, 100,000 businesses or thereabout, if we still remember. And today, and of us, so many people with small businesses, they took advantage of the business name then and registered. But what I've seen today, that between the 2019, 2020, for those that registered today, some of these businesses are already inactive on Corporate Affairs Commission. That is one. And then what I've discovered again is that many of these businesses are not actually aware of some of the things they filing, just assume that they know. And then when you even want to get across to CAC, it's it's been like kind of an issue. Like for us, like we're supposed to have CAC in the house with us, but we've made all the necessary open effort, but nothing worked. So if we couldn't work, and we're looking at the MSMEs policy, and we're looking at getting better results, we're looking at better implementation. So I know that it's not a question to ask, but I just want to, it's like requesting, it's like begging. SMEDAN will have to really, we need proper engagement with Corporate Affairs Commission. The same way you have proper one with NEPC, there are places that when SMEDAN is talking, you can actually have the agencies, you have the tax, all of them, the FRS, all of them coming out. But most times, the NMSMEs are not able to meet the CACs and, open up and be able to share their mind. So please, we will actually appreciate SMEDAN to help in that regard. People need to always hear from Corporate Affairs Commission. People need to, one thing we should not assume that people know when they don't know. And then when you are dealing with the fraction of the populace that are able to access you, maybe at the federal level or in Lagos, or don't think that that represents the whole Nigeria. We are dealing with 200, 240 million, whatever, depending the records. So you cannot use 5,000, 10,000 numbers as record you have to judge that this is what is happening. And then I really want to request that for all our projects and for all the agencies, we should consider the grassroots. Because when a CEO or DG want to present paper, he talks about, he or she will talk about the Nigeria of a market, the potential market of 200 million, 240 million. So if we have this as a paper to present as potential opportunity, then there should be considerate actions, bringing these people in, considering for these people, not just assuming that they know what we're talking about. They have known. And one of these reasons, the reason for this meeting again is we will implore the directors at SMEDAN should help us. Even if it's going to take you from the state you come from, work on the governor from your state, because that has always been the issue with policy implementation. The governors at the state, the government at the state level. So we want to request that SMEDAN and other agencies will always have the way to enter into the programs of the state. Else, it will just be a story. And we don't want that again. Thank you, sir. So we have a question. How can we get the 2021-2025 policy initiatives? That's from Olawale Fasanya. So, and I'm trying to see other questions we have there. So that's one someone is asking. Then, okay, let me please ask your question. I'm trying to read the questions out. Okay, maybe I'll let you respond to that, then we'll get your check and see another one there, sir. And
thank you, Mr. Ola. Let me quickly respond to some of all this. In the first instance, let me thank you for your suggestions on the need for the agency or for the agency to maybe relate more with other sister agencies that are within the MSME enabling ecosystem. The truth of the matter is that the Director General is a pioneer staff, and he knows at least most of all these challenges of MSMEs. And the first thing he did was to see, even though they are already friends at the personal level, he visited most of all these Director Generals, CAC, NAFDAC, all of them. So, and what is he doing is trying to open doors. We are supposed to work together. And if you listen to me, one of the challenges is everybody working as a silo. So he wants to bridge that gap. So we have close relationship with CAC, NAFDAC, and there are some of, like you said, there are some of all these programs, products that some of all these agencies have that are not in the public domain. So what we are doing is to see how we can amplify or help create awareness on some of all these opportunities that are available within some of all these institutions. For the survivor fund registration of on the MS of small businesses, I know, the thing with Nigeria is that some people that got those certificate or those registration were not actually in business. Some of them just, it is coming from government, it is free, they got registered and they dumped the certificate. So, but what do? We're trying to see how we are talking with CAC. We even have a platform where people can come on and register. Because of our intervention, because of our pressure on CAC, they were able to even slash the registration of business name to 5,000. So we are doing a lot, but sometimes that they have their own criteria that they must meet. But we will not stop. We'll continue to carry out our advocacy outreaches to them. We are believing, we are trusting that within a very short time we start feeling or seeing the impact. For our relationship with the state governors, I can tell you that the new DG has visited nothing less than 7 governors. And what is the idea? The idea is to see how we can make them buy into the new policy and even create enabling environment for MSMEs to operate. This might not be in the public domain in the newspaper, but I can tell you that he is working underground, and we are trusting that within a very short time we start feeling the impact of what he is doing. Now, somebody asked for how to get the copy of the national policy on MSMEs. One, I can promise that I will send a soft copy to Ola so that he can send it to you. Then secondly, if you visit our website, SMEDAN's website, it is available there. It is there. The various policies, the various national policies are there, so you can have access to them to even compare. Thank you so much.
So much.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
And Mrs. Kufan, sorry, I'm out of coverage, but I'm back.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so we can hear you from Nigerian Promotion Commission. Your response.
Response to as support that we give to the SMEs. Nigerian export promotion is to promote growth of non-oil export in Nigeria. And for this, my agency will have done a lot of things to make sure that we promote these SMEs in Nigeria so that they can be up and doing and compete favorably with other agencies in the world. And for this reason, if we are to go by what microfinance clinic has done for the SME in Nigeria, you find out that under the leadership of the president, he has created some shared facility where most of these our SMEs can go there and get themselves acquainted with what is happening in those shared facilities. We have one in Ogun State, Abubakah, to address the issue of agri production. We have one in Abia State, in Aba, to address the issue of fashion and design. One at Bauchi in Azere to address the issue of granite production and milling and other accessories. We have one in KB on granite production again. We have one in Borno State for footwear and leather work. We also have one in Delta State, and also for easy location and also for this SMA to know what is happening. Under the leadership of the Vice President, they created what is called one-stop shop. And this stop shop, we have all the agencies that we're talking about today. They are under that roof to address the problem of the SMS and also to train them. We have one in Abia State, in Omaha. We have one in Bauchi State. We have one in Cross River State at Calabar. We have one in FCT in Ajay, Abuja. We have one in Kwara State in Ilorin. We have one in Osun State, Osogbo. And we have one at Jos Plateau State to address all these issues. But then, my agency, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, to address this issue of the SMS, very well, they have created a division to handle the issue of women in SMS, youth in SMS, special people, persons with disability with SMS, so that they can give more attention to them. And they did a lot of things to make sure that these people are catered for. And in fact, so far so good under the women in export. She trade, they have trained about 3 million people globally, and 200 of our women have participated and benefited from this. And also our youth, so far we have trained about 10,000 youth, and they are beneficiary, and we still have more programs and ongoing programs to address the SMS issues and to promote their welfare and to prepare them for export. And just to say that last year, towards the end of the year, our chief executive, along with the director general of SMEDAN, they lead about 30 SMS and business to Senegal, and our product was well received, and they didn't return home with any, and they generated a lot of orders for Nigerian products. And indeed, we are trying. And to talk about the finance in the country, although we have little challenges, but then our government is trying, and our bankers are also trying. Under the bankers, we have some of these banks that I can list, that can give this SME finance without collateral. We have First Bank, we have Heritage Bank, we have GT Bank, we have Access Bank, we have Standard Bank. And on the part of government has done a lot. We have Bank of Industry that can support them. We have Bank of Agric. We have DBN to support them, and also NEXIM, NASSI, and all the rest to support this SME. And we believe that with our collaboration with other co-partners in this SME development, we are going to go a long way. And it is not something we can start and end in a day, and that with our cooperation, we are going. Hello? With our cooperation, we can go a long way to support them. One day, our SME is going to be in the world, and we are going to enjoy the benefit of the SME. So that is just what I have. If there is more to discuss, I will still come on board. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma, for that clarification. Thank you so much, Ma. I see Mr. Anthony raised his hands up. Mr. Anthony, you have the floor. You have a question or you have a contribution to make, sir?
Yes, I don't know. Can you hear me? I have a question.
Yes, please, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Okay, my question is for the Nigerian Promotion Exporting Council. I believe the madam that just spoke, I didn't get her name very well, is standing in for the council. You know, at the beginning, when the gentleman that had spoken on behalf of the council did this presentation, he had mentioned that yes, there are some issues and challenges here and there. You know, sometimes you go 2017, 16, 17, 18. I did my best. I have a registered company, and I was into. Say it again, ma.
I said, did you register with Nigerian Export Promotion Council?
Yes, ma. I did. That time, 2016.
So what are your challenges, please?
My challenge is that the man, when he was speaking, spoke about, you know, training for exportation, and particularly there's one they call 0 to A export or export to A0, something like that to export.
0 to export.
Yes. For a period of 2 years, I did a constant follow-up for any of these trainings. I couldn't get it. No, just promises upon promises.
They
never invited
were
me.
you invited to our team? Okay, please, after this program,
yes,
get my number from the coordinator and give me your name, so that if you are doing any program that are going to invite you, I'm very sorry for that. It is an oversight. Please.
Okay, ma. All right, ma. Okay, ma. Thank you very much.
Very sorry. We'll address your issue, and you will enjoy our service, sir. Thank you.
All right, ma. Thank you very much. I will do that, ma.
It's okay.
Okay. I can see Mrs. Patricia has raised her hands. Please, you have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right.
I want to speak on the certificates that people are keeping behind after registering their companies. That is where the chamber come into place. Many people, they don't know what they go into when they register a company. Last year, SMEDAN trained us in Calabar. Then one of the facilitators asked a question, say, how many of you have registered your companies here? Many people raised their hand. Then he said, let's check if your company is active. They were like, how do we check? Then he told them again, he said, bring out your phones and type. When we checked, many companies were not active. I will tell you, after that program, the women that attended, we were 105 that attended the program. We told them, go back to your various places and tell others to check that their companies are not active. Even when government is saying apply for loan, they will do a check on you. No loan is free. They will do a check on you. If your company is not active, nobody will give you money. From there, people started going back to file to CAC to make sure their companies were up to date. What I'm saying to us here now is, I believe many of us are falling to that category of MSME, that we should go back and tell our friends and tell our colleagues and try to reach out to market, because women are more. I speak more for women because we are the ones that are really lacking behind. We should go back and tell the women, please, if you have registered your company, just tell your son to help you log on, or your daughter to help you check if your company is active on the website of a CAC. By the special grace of God today, many women are happy they were able to pay. Because if you don't pay at the beginning of the year, by the time you want to use your company, maybe you now have a contract or whatever, you pay more because there is a fine attached to it. So that's what I want to state to all of us that attended the program. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so very much, ma. You are right. That's what we are saying. But something we cannot overlook is this. Most of the people that register, from at least when you relate with people, it is those who know. Many people don't know about filing, and that's why talking about what CAC should do. CAC should still, it's not about, now when federal government say register your company and they will give in this, I still believe that if CAC is coming out, for example, there's not anything you want to do as regard to tax, you have information. It's not people, it's not outside advocacy. The tax, the FRS will tell you they have the information about getting your team, about doing the filing. So same thing we expect from Corporate Affairs Commission. That is not just about talking about now when the trade fair will come, they will tell people to register, people register. They should, the same way, the same energy they used to tell people to register, the same energy they should, even in digital product, there's what we call the knowledge. They should give people knowledge about, okay, there is filing, this is what you are supposed to do. That's what we are talking about. Because you can't just assume that people know when they don't know. That's just that. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. So I don't know if we have any other question, because I think we've actually covered what we have today. Like I said, Empower Africa project, the vision is to build a poverty-free continent, and we're leveraging more on the digital technology and being entrepreneurship. We want to see as much as we can strengthen, be of help, be of strength and support to NMSMEs, whatever. And I discover that information is always one thing that we really need, and that's why we come with different business programs to encourage ourselves, to help ourselves, and to strengthen ourselves. And because on the SDG goals, we embrace the 1 and the 2 of the no poverty and zero hunger. So, and I believe that if you want to fight poverty and you want to fight hunger in a nation, you need to strengthen the NMSME.
Okay, I think Mr.
Coming up. So I want to appreciate. Okay. So I want to appreciate us all. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry about that. So I want to appreciate us all being part of today's program. And we once again want to appreciate DG SMEDAN, and we pray for divine strength for him. He's been on the road and now really need to rest. And we pray for, we appreciate all the management team, all the SMEDAN's boards, and the Nigerian Export Promotion Commission. We thank you for all you're doing, and all the other agencies. We appreciate your effort, and we are just asking that as we do more, we will appreciate, we will compensate, we will play our part as SMEs. We want to appreciate all the head of BMOs, all the president, the chairman, and the state coordinators. We appreciate you all. This I want to tell us, please, when we in our states, let's not keep quiet. Don't give the you must understand that you are a stakeholder in a state, so don't let the government of your state decide for NMSMEs without your voice, and be sure that the decision has to do with what is coming from the federal, so that we can all maximize every effort and the support coming for us. This I really have for us. I really want to encourage us. So, and we appreciate Mr. Femi coming in. Thank Connect for always hosting us, being our web conferencing platform. We appreciate you guys' effort. So, thank you. We appreciate people that join us on YouTube, because we need to make that open for everybody to be part of it. Thank you all. Watch out for all our programs. The best way to always be part of our programs, because we have some of the things that are not announced, but if you subscribe to EA Project TV, my YouTube, you will see, like this video we'll arrange it in a way, I will try to edit in a way that you can be able to watch, go over it, and we have other videos there and some other trainings coming, and then you can just go on Facebook and then look for Empower Africa Project. We have our group and our page, and you can follow us. Then you can always know of what we do. So thank you all. Over to you, moderator.
All right, thank you so much. We'll be in touch with all the facilitators and speakers today. We'll be in touch from tomorrow, so we can give you some time to catch your breath from today's event. Do have a great weekend ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.